Welcome to Saturday Morning Retro, episode 16, a podcast on the Rated G Network focused on retro gaming and giving ourselves an excuse to play our collection. I'm your host, Dave Bertino, and this is my co-host, Dan, the podcaster formerly known as Classic Robinson.
What's going on, man? I mean, hey, it's monumental. I'm right now 4,500 games in the collection. And counting.
I thought you were going to say you're 45 years old, and I said, wait a minute. You can't be older than me. You can't be older than me. I'm at least 2 years older than you.
That's you.
I was like, Dan, you're not that old. Your memory's not that bad. So you got 4,500 games. That's what you're trying to tell me. 4,500 games.
Over 4,500 games. I mean, if you want me
it's
to
incredible.
Be,
it's incredible.
If you want me to be specific, I mean, because I can be specific, it's 4,527. But
you gotta be specific. The extra 27 games make all the difference, right?
They make all the difference. I mean, and counting, right? Because the mail didn't come today, so I don't know.
Got some stuff. Got some stuff in the mix.
I got stuff coming up. I am almost up to 5,000.
I gotta really do another I guess calculation. Is that the word? I need to do a stock count of everything I have, because I know I'm missing a bunch of stuff in my spreadsheet. I know I am, because I've been a little lazy. I'll put the stuff on the side and then I'll mix it into the collection and I'll forget to catalog it.
That's called a lazy collector. Come on, man. You gotta have a system for these things.
Oh, I know. You're right. You're 100% right. You told me the system that you do, right? You put the games off to the side and you don't mix them into the collection until you scanned them into your damn system, right?
Yes, and I'm not gonna lie. I have a box full of games that start, because all gamers have it, all collectors have it in alphabetical order. So a lot of these games are starting with between A and M, which always kills you because you're gonna have to make room to move them towards the back of whatever pile you have, right?
Oh yeah.
So that's why I'm not so eager to put them in the collection.
Yeah. You have a big collection when you have to second guess buying a game that begins with A.
Well, I was thinking guess it. I just don't put it in the I don't actually count it just yet. So yeah.
Right. Oh, that's funny.
So look, we have an awesome show this month. Okay, coming up, we're gonna dive deep into our backlog, and I'm gonna talk about Tron Evolution, and Dave is gonna talk about Donkey Kong for the Gameboy, which is sort of known as Donkey Kong 94 in some circles. But we always start a Saturday morning retro show with this time in gaming history, and I want to do something a little bit different this show, episode 16. Let's say happy birthday to not only one of the best systems of all time, but the greatest game of all time, and that is the SNES in Super Mario World. It came out August 23rd, 1991, which is weird to think that the Super Nintendo came out in August. All right, it came out in late August.
Yeah. Huh.
With the best game of all time, which is the launch game, Super Mario World. Happy 30th birthday.
Happy 30th birthday. Yeah, that's
you're
crazy.
You're about 5 years older than me, and Dave.
Two.
Yeah, and Dave, Dave is about 20 years older than you. So I just want to say happy birthday to you. The SNES was amazing. It was an amazing console.
Sure was.
It jumps between 1, 2, and 3. It's definitely my top 3 consoles of all time. I'm not gonna say it fluctuates whenever I feel like naming the best console of all time.
Sure,
but
had one of the best console. Had one of the best controller innovations ever. The shoulder buttons. All right.
Oh yeah, that's right. I mean, we still have that innovation to this day because of that SNES.
Also, it's actually pretty timely because I don't know if you saw the news, but the designer of the NES and the SNES, Lance Barr, has finally retired from Nintendo after 38 years and 8 months at the company. So there you go.
I thought it was 39 years. I thought it was 39 years and like 2 months. Like
Just about. This article says 38 years and 8 months at the company, according to Engadget, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah,
so he was the guy who said, look, we need to make it look like a VCR to differentiate itself from everything else so that it's very...
That is the NES. That is the original NES
right,
North American
right.
market because of the video game crash with
right.
the Atari.
Right.
So.
They wanted to make it familiar, but also not be pegged as a game console because of the stigma that it had and because of what Atari did to the industry. So I think that's kind of cool. And I guess he's also the same guy who attributed the pink and purple buttons on the Super Nintendo controller, where I guess he thought that Americans couldn't understand 4 colors. That was a little weird because the Japanese controllers are red, green, blue, and yellow, right? They're like...
I like the whole gray and purple controller.
It's a nice aesthetic, sure. It's a nice aesthetic.
It's a really nice aesthetic.
It is a nice aesthetic, and they also... I don't know if the Super Nintendo or the Famicom had the convex and the concave buttons, right? Like the bottom 2 buttons went in and the top 2 buttons like had the little bubble so you could kind of like rest your thumb in it.
No, I mean, again, my controllers are like all the way on the other side of the room, but no, they did have those. I'm going to go on a limb and say they did have those.
Okay. Yeah.
That makes sense because I remember that. Yeah, they did have those.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they had those.
Yeah, but I mean, like, iconic all around, iconic controller, iconic system, iconic games, some of the best versions, the aforementioned Super Mario World, Super Metroid, right? Super Punch-Out was on that system.
Link, listen, Legend of Zelda 3.
Yeah, right? Yeah, Link to the Past. Yeah.
So those are all like the best games, or take the best games of those series.
Mm-hmm.
Were on the Super Nintendo, and a lot of Super Nintendo games are really expensive to this day, and I think the Super Nintendo is one of the best consoles of all time, if not the top 3.
Sure is.
I would definitely put it in the top 3.
Sure is.
So, Dave, this is Saturday Morning Retro. This is when we get to brag about our pickups, and I love this part. This is one of my favorite parts of the show because I do a lot of pickups.
You do. I mean, you've done over 4,500 pickups.
I know. Since we started the show, the show in general. Mm-hmm. You get any good pickups this month?
Dan. Always good pickups. My pickups are always 100. All right. I got these pretty recently. Got these real recently, as recent as last week, and went into the Goodwill on a whim because the Goodwill that I normally go to, right? Or deep down in Brooklyn over on Fulton or around Fulton or whatever. They've been kind of dry lately. Same games over and over again. Not really anything there. This time when I went there, I saw a 360 for $10 and a bunch of Wii games, and I scooped them up. So Mario Kart for the Wii, Sega Superstar Tennis for the Wii. Wii Sports Resorts, which goes for a decent chunk of change, surprisingly. Super Mario Bros. Wii, and also Bayonetta for the 360. So, didn't have that game. Was very excited about that. And a little side note, because I brought the stuff to the counter, and me and the dude were talking for a second. He was a little surprised, right? Because there was like a GameCube game in there too, NBA Live or whatever, I think, and something else. And he's like, "Oh, I didn't realize we had this over here." And we were chatting, and like he kind of let loose that if they ever find anything that they feel is of value, or they like look up and say it has value, it won't go on the shelf. It'll go to the Goodwill online store in the auction.
Oh wow, really?
Yep.
I feel like that's.
Yep.
Not fair. Really? That's like not fair. Like how?
Well, I mean, it sucks. That? It sucks, but they have every right to do that because they want to make money to stay afloat. I was just like, oh, so Stadium Events is never gonna end up on the shelf unless somebody slips up. is really what it is. So all the good stuff that comes in, we don't even know the good stuff that comes in. Like I got the Wii Sports Resort for $5. It goes for like $30 online. I thought that was a good deal. All right, but they don't really care about that.
It's like $49.99.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
Like $50.
They don't really care about it. They care about the big stuff. Yeah, I guess I don't know if that necessarily hits their radar like that, but like, you know, you get a little Samsung that comes through the door, or you get like I don't know, a Vectrex come through the door. You're not going to see that stuff on the shelf. Nope. It ain't even going to be behind the counter. It's going to be on shopgoodwill.com.
I did not know that. That's good to know. I'm going to check out Shop Goodwill and see what comes on.
They have a lot of stuff on there. You know, they have a lot of stuff. There's a lot of lots and whatever else.
I hate the fact that they're becoming hip to the game, man. No, I want to be able to get like a little Samson or a Vectrex, or know a Rampage. Or not Rampage, Clay Fighters. 64.
Sculptor's Cut? Like, yeah, no, it's not happening.
Yeah.
It's not happening anymore.
For like $5.
No. I mean, every now and again you'll come across something decent. But
so I picked up Rampage. I got Rampage in mind. I got Rampage World Tour for the N64.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Itchy and Scratchy, which is a game that's up there, a little bit up there in price, like a little bit less than $100 for the SNES. I thought I had Silver Surfer, one of the most difficult and infamous games, if you're on the internet, for AVGN, right? Silver Surfer
has one of the best soundtracks, though.
It does. I thought I had that game. I didn't have the game. I do now. I now have that game in a collection, along with Mad Max.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Also another terrible game. But that doesn't have a good soundtrack. Tim Follin did not do the music for Mad Max.
It is not terrible. It's just bad. I think terrible is
I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. I wouldn't even say try it out. Yeah.
I would say try it out. I disagree with you on that. I think it has some good qualities. I just don't think it's a good game.
Fair enough.
It's a different thing. I got Mortal Kombat 2 for the SNES. That's me. I already had Mortal Kombat 2 for the Genesis, which famously I always said I made it to Shao Kahn and died like 2 hours, 2 hours straight. Couldn't beat Shao Kahn. Right? I just gave up. But I had Mortal Kombat. I had the original Mortal Kombat in the arcade I played, and then I had Mortal Kombat 2 for the Genesis and Mortal Kombat 3 for the SNES. I now have all the Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3 for the Genesis and SNES. I found Grid 2.
Well, hold on. You forgot about Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3.
I have that for the PlayStation originally.
Okay. Because that also came out, and it was notoriously buggy. Because
it was.
That
was one of my first pass the controller games.
Mm-hmm.
All right, pass the controller. All right, you died. Pass the controller.
Yeah, it had an issue with the endurance. You could do 8v8, right? They had a secret mode where you could go head to head, and it was either Sindel or Shiva was completely bugged out on that mode.
I think it was Sindel.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. Sindel, but I have the Ultimate Mortal Kombat I have my original copy of the Ultimate Mortal Kombat for the PlayStation, the original PlayStation.
Nice.
And I have the Ultimate Mortal Kombat for the for the SNES.
Mm-hmm.
So I got Grid 2 for the PS3, right?
Nice.
That in the wild at a GameStop. I have Endless Ocean for the Wii, which is a game that's climbing price, and they were 2 different Endless Ocean games that came out for the Wii.
They made 1 and 2, if you can believe it.
I didn't know that was named 2, but I knew there were 2 Endless Ocean games. So I had that. I picked up Ghost Runner, which was our sort of sleeper game of PAX 2020 before the zombie apocalypse happened. So I got that for the Switch. I have Stargate complete inbox for the Genesis, and this was
Stargate
Sega's. Yeah, this was Sega's answer to the Mario Party series back on the N64. I have Sonic Shuffle.
Ooh. Yeah, that's not a great game. Yeah, I
haven't played it, but why don't you like this? Why would you pick the Mario Party games over Sonic Shuffle?
because it doesn't make any sense. I watched the Game Grumps played this recently, and they were baffled. And they played like every Mario Party game, so they're like well aware of all the quote unquote zany stuff that game does. But there's weird like RPG dice rolling battles that happen like every round, and it's like a crapshoot, right? You like roll the dice and you have to roll more than like Metal Sonic does or whatever, at least in the one stage that they were playing. Actually, no, it wasn't Metal Sonic. It was some weird like alien creature or whatever that would kind of change. But it was a weird random mechanic. They never understood like how it worked, what the mechanics were, and just everything about it is just off. You'll see when you play it. You'll go like, why is it like this? And what is this? What are the rules? You should be able to play the game, right? Put the game in and be able to play the game without reading the instruction book, right? They should be able to give you the instructions for all the mini games as they like come up, and you should be able to intuit like what the objective is, or whatever the Toad equivalent is, should tell you at the beginning of the thing. You shouldn't have to read an instruction book to figure out what's going on, because it's supposed to be made for kids. So, I don't know. I'm really curious to see what you think about this. Try and go in with an objective mind.
I'm super excited to try this game, and I feel like I'm going to try this game in an actual party setting, because you can't play this game by yourself. So I feel like next time Dave has like a party, vaccinated party.
You bring that over? Yeah, bring that over.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could bring that game over and we can all play. Mm-hmm. But you need a Dreamcast. I don't want to have to buy a Dream. I don't bring my Dreamcast.
Oh my God, it's so tiny. Come on.
Oh,
it's so tiny.
On. But just buy a Dreamcast for your collection, so I don't have to. I can just bring the game.
I mean, I want one. I don't think I'm going to be getting one anytime soon. So, I want to get it for a good price. That's all.
Dave, this is the time in the show where we discuss our triple R game, where we either pick a game in our backlog that we want to remaster, remake, or recycle a good idea from. Mm-hmm, right? Mm-hmm. Which game this month would you triple R?
Sure. I mean, not just from our backlog, from all of video games. All right. I think anything is open in this case, and I'm going back to the heyday of computer games, back when Dan Robinson had a PC and was playing computer games.
Oh, I was so a PC gamer. If you would have asked me back in like the late 80s, early 90s, I would have been like, I'm a PC gamer. I do have an NES, I have a Genesis, and the Super Nintendo is coming out, and maybe I'll get it because I going to till this day think I got it for my birthday. I don't remember. Because Christmas is when you got like the action figures, right? I got like 30 action figures. Quantity was better than quality in Christmas, right? Like you wanted to have the most presents, not like the best presents. So I'm gonna say I got the SNES for my birthday in '92. If it came out in August '91, I got it for my birthday in '92.
Okay.
But I'm gonna say, that's exactly what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. But I was a PC gamer at this point.
Right. Okay. I was wondering where this was going. So you were in the console world, you were in the PC world, 1 foot in each.
But I was 1 foot in each. But I would have considered, if you would have asked me at that point, I would consider myself a PC gamer.
Okay. Yeah. I got my second computer in 1994. So this was a year after the game that I picked came out, but I did get to play it, I guess a little bit after I got my 486 DX33 with 1 meg of RAM in it, which was like the shit for the time.
It was the shit to have 1 meg of RAM.
That's right. That's right.
You can't do anything with 1 meg of RAM nowadays.
Nah, it's nothing. You can't do anything with 1 gig of RAM.
Can't even do it. You can't do anything.
No. So, yeah. So this is definitely of that time. This is also a time when Electronic Arts was putting out more than just their annual Battlefield and their annual Madden games. So they were, they were a producer and creator of of amazing games back in the day. And they didn't necessarily create this. Bullfrog Studios was the one who created this, who also did Populous. But they made a Syndicate for the PC. All right, I don't know.
Syndicate, and it actually came out. Syndicate versions of that came out for consoles.
There were a couple console versions, right? They did make a sequel, Syndicate Wars, and they tried to make an update. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, and it was terrible. But it's such a good idea, right? It was one of the first cyberpunk video games that I remember, right? And it's a 3/4 view, top down, and you build a squad of Syndicate operatives or whatever, right? And you can enhance your little cyborg android creatures with like different abilities and weapons and, you know, ocular implants and different like legs to increase your speed and all that. Had a lot of really cool things. You go on these missions. They were mostly assassination missions. Sometimes they were escort missions or whatever else. Really cool game. I want them to do it right and remake that game in like, you know, beautiful 4K visuals with the HDR and all that. Soup to nuts. I want that same game, right? The same core game, but just bring it up to today's visuals and like add some new mission variety in there, right? Build out the game world a little bit. I feel like we kind of got that with the Ascent, the new game that came out for the Xbox. But
I haven't played that yet.
Oh, it's so good, good. But
check my Xbox.
But you don't have a squad, and you're not kind of like moving them around tactically with a mouse and keyboard, so it's different. You know, it's a twin stick shooter, so the gameplay is a little bit different and whatnot. But the aesthetics in that game are beautiful. So
what would you want? Which AAA would you want for a Syndicate?
Oh, remake, 100%. Yeah.
You want a total remake with that game?
Yeah. Soup to nuts. Like, keep the same like core gameplay loop, but expand everything out and bring it up to today's visuals.
Okay.
You know.
Well, I'm gonna say this. We've had a new Jack and Daxter remake, soup to nuts, change the story, tweak the story, I should say, on the PS4. And mascot platformers are making sort of a comeback. They're not going to be the dominant game of, you know, the generation like they once were. But they are making a comeback to where we don't want 4 or 5 sequels in the same generation, where we want, you know, maybe 2, maybe 3 in the generation. I'm going to say I want Voodoo Vince. I want an original exclusive Xbox platformer, mascot platformer, soup to nuts remade. I know it was remastered, but I want it remade.
The remaster wasn't enough for you, huh? Okay.
It was not enough. I want a total remake of it and do some different. Come to the table with some different ideas for it for the Xbox Series X. I mean, listen, Psychonauts came out, which if you're gonna listen to the regular Rated G show this week. Trust me, I have thoughts on that game. Okay? Wow!
All right.
Which I will. Which you got to listen to the regular show if you want to hear my thoughts on that game.
Yeah, all right.
But we got the Ratchet and Clank. We got Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, right? We got the remake of Ratchet and Clank, the original on the PS4, and we got Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Trust me, I think Voodoo Vince would do great on the Xbox.
You love Voodoo Vince for whatever reason.
I love Voodoo Vince for 2 reasons. One, it's a mascot platformer that is it's a competent mascot platformer that's pretty good. And 2, I like screwing with you because for some reason you don't like Voodoo Vince.
No, it's not that I don't like Voodoo Vince. It's just it's a perfectly average game. It's right up there with it's right up there with Scalar and Ty the Tasmanian Tiger.
It's better than those games. Get out of here.
I don't know what the defining quality of Voodoo Vince is.
It's better than those.
I would like you to tell me what the defining quality of that game is.
No, it's better than those.
Yeah, see, there you go. You can't even tell me what the awesome hook is about it. I just don't know.
Because it's Vince and he does voodoo. 'Cause it's Voodoo.
Yeah, I'm not sold. It's the same as all the other games. I'm not knocking it. It was of a time when there was just so many of them, right? Dr. Ramuto's another one. Among the Ratchet and Clanks and the Jak and Daxters, like, the cream of the crop and all that, everyone was just putting out 3D versions of the 2D mascot platformer games that were so prevalent in the 90s, right? Everyone's like rushing to get a new mascot and make a whole new thing out of it. And it was fine, but there was just so many. That's my whole thing about it. But
okay, I'm telling you, I want Xbox to have their version of Ratchet and Clank and Jak and Daxter, right? They're exclusive to PlayStation. I want them to have their, and yes, they have Psychonauts again. Listen to the regular show if you want to hear my thoughts on Psychonauts too. But I think Voodoo Vince can fit that bill, right? I think they can have sort of their own mascot platformer that can fit. Again, Phil Spencer wants to have a diverse catalog of exclusives, right? They bought Psychonauts, but Voodoo Vince is right there in their catalog. It's in their wheelhouse. They own that IP. It is exclusive to Xbox, and they could do so much with that story.
Well, they already remastered it, so they obviously care about it more than some of their other properties, right?
And it's Phil Spencer's favorite original Xbox game, so of course the game is great.
I mean, yeah. Okay. So I mean, there's definitely hope for a sequel, something else in the Voodoo Vince pantheon, if you will. Or the fact that they remastered it, which I was like, wow, I can't believe they remastered this game. Just because I didn't think anybody necessarily cared about it. Not that it was bad by any means, but so you could certainly get, you could certainly get your wish.
All right. On that note, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to dive deep into our backlog, and we're going to talk about Tron Evolution and Donkey Kong 94 for the Game Boy.
Yep.
And we're back. Dave, let's dive deep into our backlog and let's talk about some Tron Evolution and Donkey Kong 94 for the Game Boy. I'm going to go first. I want to talk about, I really was excited about this Saturday Morning Retro episode because I really wanted to talk about Tron Evolution. Okay? Because I honestly don't remember watching the original Tron movie from the early 80s, but I did watch Tron.
I've still never seen it. I've still never seen either of them.
I do remember watching Tron Legacy in the movies, and I liked it. Okay, I know it's sort of an average movie, but I kind of really liked it, and that was about almost 10 years ago. It was about it was about 10 years ago it came out, around 2010. So Tron Evolution came out December 7th, 2010 in North America. Okay, it was developed by Propaganda Games and published by Disney Interactive, and it came out for Xbox 360, PS3, Windows, and according to Wikipedia, PSP. But I don't remember there being a PSP physical version, so maybe it was a digital thing.
I feel like I own it for the PSP.
I don't remember it coming out for the PSP.
I don't see why they wouldn't have a physical for it.
I don't remember it coming out for PSP. I could be wrong. If I am wrong, I definitely want to own it. It's a third-person action combat platformer that was 3D compatible because that was a thing back in 2010.
Oh my God! Yeah, this is bringing me back to a time, right? Bringing me back to time. This is 11 years ago. Also, there's that.
Yeah. So I played it on the our PS3 Slim. So this game bridged the gap between the original Tron movie that was in the 80s and Tron Legacy that came out. Right? It was a prequel to Tron Legacy. It was a prequel to Tron Legacy, the movie, that Disney movie, the big blockbuster Disney movie that came out in 2010. that told you sort of how I don't want to spoil it, right? Like we're talking about the game, but I don't want to spoil too much about it. Okay, so you play as a system monitor trying to stop Clue rise to power, right? Because in it explains the events that led up to Kevin Flynn's imprisonment inside the grid, which isn't too much of a spoiler. You know that when you first watch the movie, right? That's how Tron Legacy starts, right? Like, starts with Flynn's son coming into the grid trying to find his father.
Right, because he got sucked into the video game and all that,
Yeah, and you don't know, he's been there for years, so he doesn't know anything about the internet, right? And his son is like explaining to him, like, there's the internet, and he's like, I invented that. That was my thought back in the day. I've been stuck here for 20-something years, so
couldn't make it come to fruition. Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, so I really looked forward to playing this game because I enjoyed the movie and I wanted to see sort of how everything sort of came to pass, right? It's a third-person action game with some racing elements to it, right?
So they did incorporate the light cycles. Okay, well that's cool.
They incorporated a lot of things. I mean, did they do it right? That that remains to be seen. I mean, wall running and jumping off of terminals, sort of like a Prince of Persia style game, yes, but they just didn't get it right. I mean, it's really heavy on combat. It's really combat focused.
Okay.
To be honest with you, with heavy and light attacks and combos. You use the disc. If you know anything about Tron, you have a disc behind your back that holds all the information that of you, as a person, or all the information of you in general. So
it's like it's a weapon and it's a USB stick?
Yes, pretty much. It's a USB stick that's a sword.
Wow, I wouldn't want to be tossing that around, right? That's sensitive information. That feels a little flawed. I don't know.
You can, but it does have light cycle stages and tank stages. The light cycle stages just feel like they're the escape for every event, for the heavy events, most of the events that happen. I know this game has 3D, but none of the cutscenes are 3D, which is kind of weird, especially for the time, right? Everything was 3D at the time.
Yeah, right. So like the gameplay elements are 3D, right? But not the
yes.
Now, were you able to experience the 3D at all?
No, because I don't have a 3D TV.
Yeah,
stages are really sluggish and are a drag. I'm not gonna lie. Playing with the tank you would think would be badass, but they were more of a hindrance instead of a badass. So I didn't like playing with them.
Right. Well, so this let me go ahead and take a quick step back. Right. So this came out like with the movie.
No. It didn't come out like with the movie because it came out like in Australia and Europe like in November, and then the game in North America came out in December.
But it was around the time of the movie, right?
It was around the time of the movie. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I'm just trying to figure out if they were beholden to movie deadlines and all that stuff and whatnot, and it seems like they kind of were.
Yes, but they didn't have to because it was more of a prequel. You know what I'm saying?
No. I mean, I get that, but like
the movie was released in December as well in 2010. So the game has great sort of ideas. However, they're poorly executed. And I don't know if that's because they had to rush the game to market because of the tie-in to the movie. Right?
I 100% think that's the case.
Because the controls were really made for combat and not sort of the parkour platforming, right? That they had. You're really like jumping off of, a lot of the gameplay is like you're jumping off of terminals and you're doing a lot of wall running, right? Again, like Prince of Persia, but it's not 1-to-1. Right.
So
I found that I was dying a lot during the platforming, opposed to the combat, where the combat was super repetitive. And they don't even tell you that a lot of times if you want to replenish your health or replenish your super, to do heavy attacks, you gotta like do like a heavy jump on a lot of like these just light fixtures.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of trial and error don't do a good job explaining the things that you need to do to equip yourself. So you just have to figure those things out.
Mm-hmm.
So I like a lot of the ideas. The execution was poorly done, in my view.
So you think if they had more time, they'd be able to kind of flesh it out?
If this game was put out probably a year later, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So there you go. I feel like it was slightly beholden to the movie deadline in a way, but
and this is why this is why a lot of times you don't see a lot of movie tie-in games now, right? Because they do a completely new story. Look at Spider-Man as an example. Didn't tie into the actual movies.
Yeah,
did their own thing, and it worked perfectly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you already have the known property of your protagonist. That's enough, right? Put him in a whole new thing. People aren't going to get excited because they get to play the story beats of Far From Home. They get excited because they get to play as Spider-Man who can swing around the city.
I will say the good thing about this, Jeff Bridges is like the main character in the original 80s movie, and he is he reprises his role in the movie that came out in 2010, and he's in the game. He doesn't voice act. He's not the voice actor.
Oh, he is in the game.
He is in the game, but he's not. He doesn't. He's not the voice actor for the game. But Olivia Wilde, okay, who again at this time she was really famous for playing on House, which was
that's
like
right,
a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
I still love that show. She did all of her voice scenes in the game.
Wow.
She was a special character if you brought like the special edition or limited edition. She was you could play her with her skin because she's in the regular game, but you can't play as her. You can play her in the multiplayer. Right.
Interesting.
So she did all the voice acting for her character in the game. So that's pretty awesome to know.
All right.
But honestly, again, if you watch Tron games, if you watch Tron movies, it was all about sort of a bland background that had the color that popped because that's what they thought the future was back in the 80s.
It was all neon. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they continued that. They continued that in the 2010 movie and in the game because graphically the levels are all bland levels. Sort of with like a dark undertone with neon blue, green, yellow, and orange, depending on what level you are on.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like a dark undertone with a special color.
Yeah.
Differentiate the levels that you're on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, the graphics weren't for a 2010 game. They weren't that bad. Obviously, for a 2021 game, they were terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I can imagine watching this in 3D would have been great, even though the cutscenes weren't in 3D, which makes no sense to me. If you're going to go 3D, go all the way. This game just doesn't hold up graphically or mechanically, right? The thing that really excited me about this game was the story itself, because it was a prequel to the second movie, Tron Legacy. So this was in between the original Tron and Tron Legacy. So again, I don't want to spoil too much, but the main protagonist of the original movie is stuck in this world and you don't know how. And the game sort of explains that, right? And I won't give away the ending because it is sort of a shocking ending to this. But
okay.
the thing that really took me out of the game was, again, the combat and the platforming, because mechanically they just didn't get this right. They had a lot of great ideas. They just didn't get it right. It was mostly a game made for combat, which was super repetitive, that didn't fit the parkour style platforming that they put in it, which was, I thought, would be the super cool thing of the game. So
yeah, it's really hard to do. I can count on my fingers the amount of games that actually have like parkour, vaulting, freestyle running type stuff. Mirror's Edge is one that comes to mind.
Which does it in the perfect way.
Yeah. They managed to make two of those. I can't really think of anything else that really did it. Like, I know, like, Titanfall 2 had a little bit of that, which I thought was kind of cool, but it wasn't the main focus of the game. And that's 3, and I'm struggling to come up with more examples. So it's a hard concept to do. And Mirror's Edge did it in first person, which is also crazy, right? This is like a third person thing, so it's not as dizzying, maybe.
Well, if you're looking to play this game, I want to say the biggest difference is when you're trying to do those wall runs, because it's not just a wall run; it's a wall run, a terminal jump to another wall run, stay in the sky, terminal jump, and I've died several times.
Combos.
And it's not. I'm telling you, it's like it was so frustrating. It was like, it's not my fault. Why is this here? This is not working. I don't know why the jumping isn't 1-to-1, and I did beat the game, but it took me a while, more so to pass some of the platforming levels than it did the combat, right? And again, the combat's repetitive. There's nothing different. They don't do a good job of separating. And I know a lot of the they do have like sort of tank boss battles, which you get hit like 2 or 3 times and you're dead from a tank, so you got to cheese the tank. If you jump on a tank, you could cheese it and kill it easy. And they don't do a good, they try to separate it with sort of the light cycle levels and the tank levels. And again, the tank is sluggish, and doing this, the light cycle levels are just, I know they're trying to do a race against time, and it's always like I'm exiting sort of, story from a storyline element. I'm doing an exit from the storyline element, and they're just terrible in that 1-to-1, and I didn't enjoy any of those. They were a slug. They were just something I wanted to get past. I'd rather do the repetitive combat. At least I know what I need to do to pass those levels, right? So this is a game that doesn't hold up. It's not the greatest game of all. It had great ideas, and if they did sort of a Tron Evolution 2, I feel like they would have, built upon those ideas, right, and made it better. To do, the reviews at the time, again, I'm doing this on the PS3, so I'm going to take the PS3 reviews. They got a 58 on Metacritic, a 63, user score. The highest score I got was from The Guardian, which is an 80, and the lowest score it got, which was from Play UK, got a 17, which was crazy.
Ooh.
And a lot of scores that scored it pretty high, praised this storytelling ability, which again I never took from. I didn't take anything away from the story, because it was a prequel to a very popular 80s movie, to a movie that was supposed to be a blockbuster. Didn't do so well at the box office, but I thought it was a great movie. Well, it was a good movie, maybe not a great movie.
Right.
And I seen the movie before I played the game, so it was interesting to see how they got to that point, right? So I enjoyed it for that standpoint, and a lot of a lot of gaming outlets at the time did praise it for its storytelling. So right now, if you wanted to get on Lukey, complete inbox, you get it $13.97. And if I had to actually score it,
yes, this is the moment, Dan. This all culminates. Yeah, it's a final aggregate score. What does Dan Robinson give this game out of 10?
I would give it a 6.
Wow. Okay. 6 isn't bad.
It was a complete average game.
Yeah.
Give it a 6. It really doesn't hold up. And honestly, if it wasn't for the great ideas they had in the game and the storytelling, I would probably give it a lower score. But they do have good ideas. You can get past it. Listen, I'm a symbol. You can get a lot of the bad mechanics to beat this game, right? And I kind of was surprised at the ending, which I won't spoil, right? So because of all of that, I'll give it a 6. But it's mostly story element wise, not it being an actual game. So I'll give it a 6. I'll give it a 6 because of that.
Oh, okay. So
Dave, tell me all about Donkey Kong 94.
I will gladly tell you about Donkey Kong 94. Now, the name on the box says Donkey Kong, but to differentiate between the two, people would refer to it as Donkey Kong 94 because it came out in 94, to kind of let you know that this is a new version or an updated version over the 81 original, which was a classic in the arcades. This came out June 14th, 1994 in Japan, and a North American release just 1 month later, July 22nd, 1994, which is crazy at a very quick turnaround time. Developed by Nintendo EAD, published by Nintendo. This was an internal made game through and through, first party game, and released on the Game Boy. Right, it's a action puzzle platformer, and I played it on the Game Boy Color. So this continues the story of Mario and Donkey Kong. Right, they're mortal enemies. Right, Donkey Kong kidnaps his girlfriend Pauline. Right, famously before Princess Peach or Toadstool. Right, he had Pauline was his first girlfriend, and it's cool because like you play the original 4 levels from the original Donkey Kong as the beginning of the game, right? So you're going up the scaffolding, right, and then you're going through the cement factory, and then all the way to the top of the skyscraper where you take down Donkey Kong. And then the game begins, right? That's just kind of like it's a little appetizer into the game. Some things of note about this game: it was the first game to be enhanced for the Super Game Boy, the Super Nintendo Game Boy cartridge add-on. So you could slap the cartridge in there, and you would get enhanced color palettes. You would get a special custom background. It's really cool. They did a lot of work to this game. They shoved a lot into the cartridge. So I thought that was kind of cool, and kind of notable. Donkey Kong Jr. also makes an appearance in here. So it's a father-son tag team situation going up against Mario. And you go through a hell of a ton of stages. There's 10 different worlds. They're all different. They all have, I think, at least 6 to 10 different stages within each world. So you're looking at I would say almost 100 different stages for the whole entire game.
That's a lot of stages right there.
Yeah. All on a tiny little Game Boy cart, all with their own visuals, right? Every area is unique. Sometimes you're on an airplane, sometimes you're in the jungle, sometimes you're in a pyramid, or you're in the big city. So they really did a lot of work to this. And in terms of general gameplay, it's like an action puzzle type situation, right? So there's enemies to avoid and traps and this and that, but you kind of have to figure out how to get the key and then get to the keyhole so you can make an escape and make your way to Donkey Kong, right? That's the whole thing. So first couple stages are pretty easy, and then they start kind of ramping up a little bit till you get to the end where you really have to sit there and play it a couple of times to figure out what's going on and how to even navigate the level. You eventually get there. It's not anything too crazy, but in terms of what Mario can do, so much more than the original, right? In the original, he could just jump, and he would get a hammer power up, and that's about it. So power up.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird because he wasn't called Mario, right? He was
he was Jumpman technically. Yeah.
He was just Jumpman.
Yeah. So they kind of fleshed it out. So now he's officially Mario in this case, right? So Jumpman has elevated himself. But I mean, he can do handstands, he can do backflips, he can do super jumps. There's a lot of really cool stuff that he can do now in the Game Boy version. And they show you how to do all that stuff too. They're look, here's how to do this, here's how to do this. So they introduce new mechanics to you as you're playing the game, and they kind of drip feed you new stuff to do. So that's kind of cool. So you definitely know you have all the tools to beat whatever particular stage you're on at that time. All right, they always kind of introduce, here's the new concept for this area. So I thought that was kind of neat too. There is almost no story, right? You contrast that with Tron Evolution, which has like a huge story, right? Like there's a lot of backstory and there's voice acting and this and that. No, this is just Donkey Kong kidnaps Pauline. You have to save Pauline. That's the story. There is literally nothing else to this.
Before there was the princess, there was Paulina.
Right. Now, they do actually have cutscenes, funny enough. Every, like, 4 stages, they have a new cutscene. But it's really, like, Pac-Man-style cutscenes, right? You know, there's a little thing that goes down, and usually Donkey Kong gets it in the end, and Mario starts chasing after him. But it's kind of nice. It breaks things up a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, it's a solid... Like, I got to the end. I didn't beat it again, but I got very close to the end. I'm in World 9 or World 10, which is very close to the end of the game. I think World 10 is the end. And then you end up facing off against Donkey Kong in one big final battle, which is it's a fun battle. It caps off the game in a nice way, I think. Yeah, I 100%. This game holds up 100%. All right, the visuals, the sound, the gameplay, super tight controls. All right.
Well, something that's not super complicated, right? I mean, gameplay from the original Donkey Kong and any of the original Donkey Kong games sort of hold up, right? I mean, it's not that complicated where those mechanics don't hold up. I mean, your objective is simple, the mechanics are simple, and it's just a simple concept, which is ingenious, right? I mean, Miyamoto, who invented Donkey Kong, and before there was Mario, there was Popeye, right? Because he wanted Popeye to be like the main character.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I could definitely see this. Any of the Donkey Kong games are a game that you can get up and go back and play and get into, except for Donkey Kong Mathematics.
Oh yeah. And it's it's not to say that it's simple, but it's easy to get into, and there's enough stuff to do. You can kind of just pick it up, put it down, play a couple stages, and you're good to go. But yeah. So a little bit on the reception, right? A little bit of the review roundup. So this was definitely pre-Metacritic from way back when, but I was able to find a couple of scores. In general, I think it got an overall 85%. All right, culled from all the reviews at the time. Couldn't find any user reviews, but the best score coming from Nintendo Life with 9 out of 10, and the worst score I could find was from EGM at 8.25 out of 10. Which, to say that 8.25 is the worst of it is pretty damn good, all things considered. All right, it's a lot of game in a tiny little cartridge. I gotta say it's fantastic. And well, good.
What would you score it though? That's the most important thing. What would you
it is the most important.
I haven't played it, but I do own it.
You haven't? Oh, you have to play it, Dad. It's amazing. It's a very good game. 100% holds up today, and I'm gonna shock you right now. Perfect 10. 10 out of 10.
No way. Wow.
10 out of 10. Yeah, man.
I don't know if this is our first perfect score on Saturday Morning Retro in 16 episodes, but
I think it is.
Wow.
I think it is. I mean, look, there is nothing negative about this game, right? The difficulty ramps up at a nice pace, right? Visuals are bright, colorful, varied, right? It's got the kind of Super Game Boy enhancement on there. Sound is good. Controls are tight, right? Maybe the lack of the story, but honestly, like, you don't even really need it. It's not a detriment. It's all about the puzzle platforming, right? This game is amazing, and it holds up It was as I remembered it from back in the day, because I played it when it first came out on the Game Boy. I remember lugging it around, playing it at my grandma's house, playing it in the car, and just as I remember. Super tight, controls really on point. Surprisingly, too, you figure like, oh, it's on the Game Boy, it's going to be a little bit sluggish. Maybe it's not going to be the same. No, it's tight. It's tight, man. It's a fantastic game. And if you want to get this right now, they do have it on Lukey Games loose for $32.97.
Oh my god, it just means like a complete inbox would be like $200.
Yeah. I'd probably say about $100 minimum if you want a decent inbox copy. So, but it's worth it though. Donkey Kong is a badass. Straight 10 out of 10. Telling you. Yeah. So that's it. That's episode 16 of Saturday Morning Retro in the books, folks. If you want to interact with us, and we know that you do, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Rated G for Gamers. Also, we are part of the Gaming Podcast Alliance. You can check out all of the fine podcasts featured on there at gamingpodcastalliance.com if you're looking for more gaming goodness. So, please listen, like, rate, review, and subscribe. And as always,
keep gaming.